If you know what they mean, shut up.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that might be clean on the outside, but it's still dirty on the inside. How are you doing, Carl?
Oh, just fucking dandy. It's one of those days where it was a really good day, but now I'm just toast.
Yeah, it was a great day. And now we're just really tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a sleepover with the little cousins last night. They came over and hung out with our kids, and then we all went to the zoo this morning, and then we had a birthday party.
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Yeah, and all of it was great, but it was a lot.
Yes.
And
yes, it was.
Toast. So I'm hoping that your being toast doesn't affect your storytelling abilities, and I hope you're ready to just clip through this.
Oh. I will do my best.
At a brisk but reasonable pace.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm all right. I am also tired and finally took a shower after like 2 days of being run off my feet and simply not doing it. So I feel better now. And I'm excited to tell you this story. I don't have much else to report, so I suppose we should just hop right in.
Yeah, no need to dilly or dally.
Yeah, let's do it. So this week, I am covering The Spellbroken King by J.A. Keeton, which is book one in the A Monstrous Romance series by J.A. Keeton. There are currently 2 books available. Well, one is available for pre-order. This is book 1. Book 2 comes out soon. J.A. has been a friend of our show for a long time, basically since the moment that she hopped on to TikTok to start promoting this book. Mm-hmm. She has been my friend in some capacity just because she's such a like, her vibes are lovely. Like, you can tell she puts good out to get good back.
Yeah.
And I like her very much for that. Also, this book is the first book that we ever got a PR package from an author.
That's right.
For not that in any way affected my decision to read this book, but it was cool that she decided to include us for that. It was very sweet. So this book is available for $2.99 as an ebook or through Kindle Unlimited, $14.99 for an Amazon paperback. The paperback is what I have because I actually got a physical book. It's the only time I've ever done a physical book for this show, I think.
I'm pretty sure this is the first time that, or maybe Nice Girls Don't Have. No, you don't have a physical copy.
No,
of
I don't
that
have
either?
a copy. I don't have a physical copy of any of Molly Hopper's books.
Not yet. You don't.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I'm going to see her this week.
That's
Going
right.
to an author signing.
Yeah.
For her new book. Very exciting.
But yeah, so definitely the first physical book.
Yes.
I would say that if it wasn't one of hers.
No, it definitely, because I would remember if I had written in any of my other books, but I actually got a pencil out and was making notes in this book so that I could remember what I needed to remember for later. So congratulations, J.A. Keeton. You were my first annotated book. Which is a whole thing in the book talk community that I don't do because I don't have the organization or the patience to make those beautiful annotated book pages like people do.
That's no, thank you.
Instead, I just make a podcast about it.
Way simpler.
Way simpler, right? Let's see. Is there anything else that I need to say before we begin? Yes. Okay. So I have this little rant written at the top of my notes here, and I just want to get into this for like 2 seconds. Okay. So I want to have a discussion about indie authors and typos and grammar errors. I am not saying that there are any more or less typos and grammar errors in this book than there are in any other book that I have ever read. There just were some, and they were noticeable. But it made me think of the conversation that we have a lot in this book corner of the world, which is whether or not you will read a book if it's got typos in it. And you'll hear this argument people have online. They'll say this like super elitist sort of like, I can't read indie authors because of all the typos. Mm-hmm. Okay. Get off of your freaking perch. Like I can't take it. when people talk like that, because that is an incredibly elitist attitude. You're talking about indie authors who are working on a budget of like less than $0.
Yeah.
And they are a lot of the times not able to afford an editor. So they self-edit and they have their friends beta edit for them. And they put out a book that has their heart and their soul in the pages. And you won't read it because it's got typos. That's all I need. I had to rant about that a little bit.
No,
Thank you so much.
It's fine. If you're that kind of person, I want you to write down this sentence: eat a dick. And then I want you to read that, and then you can spell check that. Just forever.
Are there any typos in that one? Any typos?
Just forever. It's so it is the dumbest thing. I've read books.
Yeah.
Like published books by major publishers with typos.
Yep.
I read blogs by professionals. I read articles. Like I have a subscription to the LA Times. I see typos in there all the time.
Yep.
I see corrections.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, we misspelled this person's name, or we did this. Shit happens. And if you're the kind of person to point that out, don't be.
Yeah. You don't have to be like this. I guess is what I'm saying.
You do not have to be like this. You
Yeah.
don't. You don't have to. If somebody mispronounces something, like just a little bit,
Yeah.
just a little off, you don't have to correct them. You know what they mean. If you know what they mean, shut up.
Yes, absolutely.
This is a big pet peeve of mine too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to belabor the point.
No, we'll get off the soapbox now, but I just wanted to say that. So let's get into our triple T's, shall we? Our triggers. Creepy motherfuckers named Marcus. Violence, gun violence, murder, massacre, blood consumption, blood magic, death, stalking, kidnapping. This is a dark romance.
Well, I mean, as soon as you said that somebody was named Marcus.
With a K. Marcus with a K.
Oh, even worse.
Right?
Because that's like Swedish.
Oh. Yeah, this is a dark romance, so let's just keep that in mind from the get-go. Our tropes: this is an MF romance, demon and human. Dark romance, again, enemies to lovers, fated mates, political intrigue, and lost royalty.
Uh-oh.
And our titillations are size difference and size kink, unique anatomy, light BDSM, pain and pleasure, dubious consent. This is a dark romance.
Oh, and lost royalty.
And lost royalty.
That's a titillation for me.
Yeah. Are you titillated?
I'm titillated by the idea of a royal no longer being royal.
Ah, okay. So we need a little bit of a quick guide and backstory here. So we are in sort of an anachronistic fantasy world where they have cars and phones and TVs and all that stuff, but the politics are like fiefdom and monarchy, kind of. This is a world where humans and other kin live together. So other kin are literally any other kind of mythological creature that you can think of. Demons, orcs, vampires, werewolves, dragon shifters, gargoyles, and fairies are all mentioned. But demons and humans are apparently like majority groups. Excuse me, but I didn't get stats or anything, but it seems like humans and demons are the most common, and then from there that you get rarer and rarer. So magic is an integrated part of this society. It's utilized in everything. It's in the power grid. It's in the food. It's in the medicine. It's in the air. It's everywhere. Other kin can utilize magic naturally. Humans have to use alternative means, but everybody can access magic. So that's our backstory, or that's our sort of quick guide to where we are. Our backstory. So this is Crystal Country, which was once ruled by the Daemonium monarchy, a bloodline of incredibly powerful demons who ruled for like a millennium because they were so strong. Until 2 years ago, when a mysterious terrorist organization started a coup, massacred the entire royal family and their court, and in the aftermath, an organization called the Hidden Order, who just happened to have a lot of political and financial power, stepped in to take control of the situation. They split Crystal Country into 5 different fiefdoms and put them in control of a governor. That was 2 years ago. Let's begin.
Let's go.
Our FMC, her name is Celeste. She has no magic and she doesn't utilize it in any way. She's a completely normal 27-year-old human woman. She has dark brown hair. She's short and curvy, but not plus-sized, just normal human woman. She has a sort of general like fuck you attitude that she got from growing up in abject, like total poverty.
Yeah.
With a mom who was potion addicted and a dad who was murdered when she was very young.
I was gonna say I can relate to the abject poverty, but the potion drink like that.
Oh, potion addicted mother.
I was like, oh, I can. Oh no.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't potion addicted, and my dad wasn't.
She was just sick, and your dad was a deadbeat.
My dad wasn't around.
Yeah. Which in a way is like being killed.
Yeah.
Except he chose to leave because he sucked.
Yeah, he did. He just fucked off.
Can you hear me, other Carl in hell? Fuck you. Anyway,
other Carl,
other Carl,
not Carl R. Jennings.
Yeah, author of Just About Anyone, a fantastic fantasy story for your listening or if you're reading enjoyment. No, Carl Mizell Jr., your dad,
my dad,
rotting, and
probably in hell.
Probably in hell.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, let's get back to this. Okay,
trauma dump.
Yay! Now for some backstory
on the characters in the book, not me.
Yeah, right. So Celeste has a mother and half-sister still living. Neither of them are around. They've all moved on to other things. She works as bartender, just trying to live her life until she catches the attention of their governor, Marcus, who is a super gross creep, like super creep, has her arrested on bogus charges and like tortured in jail for several days, all because she won't agree to be his girlfriend. Or something like that. She eventually gets bailed out, and then
is he governor of the incel fiefdom?
Honestly, in my notes somewhere here it says he is incel coded. He is incel coded 100%. Like the way he's described is he is a neckbeard. The fact that he's not wearing a fedora is just because he was indoors. Like he's a creep. He's a total creep. Anyway, so with the help of her witch friend, whose name is Greta, Celeste managed to escape Ruby Hill with some endurance and speed potions, which she doesn't normally like to take because her mom had potion problems, but she has to do what she has to do because she is now on the run. She's trying to reach a place called Sapphire Falls, which is a magic neutral sort of Switzerland-y kind of zone, and she's trying to get there before the bounty hunters that she knows are coming after her can reach up to her. When we start the book, she is having a dream. And in that dream, a voice is telling her that she can run as much as she wants, but he will catch her. He calls her little prey. This voice that is in her head, she knows, is the demon who is chasing her, the bounty hunter who is coming to collect her again. And she wakes up in this like half asleep, frazzled, like horny state because she is not yet willing to admit to herself that like the almost sadistic nature, like the being tracked down by this guy is really doing something for her in a way because he's in her brain like that and like seducing her and teasing her, and it's a whole thing. This is a dark romance. Let's just be very clear going into it,
because I was gonna ask because I don't think you've mentioned it yet.
Yeah. Just in case I haven't said it. Yeah. No, so she is very turned on even by him in her head. But she, no matter what she is feeling, is going to go to Sapphire Falls because she's not putting up with this bullshit at all. She chugs the last of her potion, she throws her pack on her back, and she starts running, and she gets like the whole day. That's the last of the potion that she's got. And she reaches like the fields just outside of Sapphire Falls. She can see the little town in the distance and like children playing and everyone looks so free and happy, and then he sweeps in from behind her and grabs her by the neck. This is the bounty hunter that she was expecting, Marcus's personal demon muscle. Everybody just calls him Shadow because he always wears a cloak when he is in public. His face is completely obscured, but he's this big scary motherfucker. They call him the Shadow or just Shadow. He grabs her by the neck and she's like, Shadow! She starts gasping. He puts these magical cuffs on her back, and this whole or on her hands behind her back, and this whole time he's talking in her ear, and she is struggling. He is choking her out. There was no reason for this scene to be as horny as it was. Keeton, I cannot, for the life of me, figure it out. He choked her to unconsciousness as he arrested her while she was fleeing, and it was way too horny. It was way too horny. What are you people about? Dark romance readers are like a different breed. I love you guys. I love you.
They're just finding the horny everywhere.
Seriously.
Finding the horny in everyday life.
Exactly. I can find beauty anywhere. You can find horny anywhere. Everyone has their thing, right? So after she wakes up from being choked into unconsciousness,
hornily.
Yeah, right. She's being carried bridal style through the woods. Shadow has her in his arms and he is sprinting full demon speed through the woods, and she shakes off the fog of it all, and she looks up to like talk to him and beg him to let her go, and she sees his face because the speed of the running has pushed the cloak back, and she realizes, holy shit, I know this guy. This is Ominous Daemonium, the reclusive third son of the Daemonium royal family, thought to have been murdered with the rest of his family, but they never found his body. He's just been working for Governor Marcus for the last 2 years, apparently. And she, I guess, she's entirely stunned because she never asks the most important question, which is, what is the prince of the Daemonium family doing kidnapping bitches for an incel? Like, she never asks the question that I really needed asked. But I know the answer. I just want to know why she didn't ask the question. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I really need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Ominous Daemonium. He is our MMC. He is 38 years old. He is from a powerful royal lineage of soldiers and sorcerers. He is massive, tall, and broad. His skin is pitch black. His hair is straight and white. He has 2 pairs of horns that stretch around the back of his head like a crown, glowing red eyes, fangs, muscles for days. He is covered in swirling golden tattoos all over his body, the whole shebang. Like this, he is, I mean, just goddamn, he's just like a big, broad demon boy.
Mm-hmm.
Big demon boy, Ominous Daemonium. And she has, like I said, a billion questions, but she does not ask any of the ones I wanted asked at that time. He tells her that he is going to take her back to Marcus in 2 days' time. And she's like, why? I don't want to do, I did not steal the thing I have been accused of stealing. And he says, it's not my job to ask. Your contract, I do as I am told. And then they stop. They stop in the middle of the forest near a cave to make camp for the night. He sets up a series of like wards or shields to protect the cave, and I really enjoyed the descriptions that J.A. Keeton wrote of the magic, like the way it sort of behaves. Everyone's is unique. Ominous's is like very heavy, like he's so powerful that the magic almost, it has like a viscous quality to it. It's very cool. However, she does use the word ooze. It oozes out of him. Do we have to? Do we have to?
Well, I
don't know.
if that's the most appropriate description.
We prefer the word ooze. 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 Sorry, I watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie with my kid the other day.
It was really good.
It was. So they go into this cave, and as soon as things start to settle down, Ominous takes his cloak off. There's an excellent description of his clothes. There are some really cool descriptions of clothes in this book. There are some great fantasy clothes. Not all of it. Some of it is actual, like, just modern fashion, but some of it is like weird and anachronistic. Like he's wearing several leather harnesses like strapped across him. Cool. Love it. More, please.
More of that, please.
Exactly. So once that happens, they calm down. His body is fully revealed to her. Not his body, but like he's not in the cloak anymore. And this simmering, underlying horny thing that has been happening between them for this entire time that they've been together hits them like a fucking cinder block, like to the skull. Just a bag of soup for my family to your face, because this it came out of nowhere. It was so intense and so sudden. So Ominous is the first one to realize that what they are feeling is fated mate magic. It's very old, very powerful, unavoidable. However, he never says this to her. And I will go to my grave ready to kick his ass for the way he treated her in the first 40% of this book. I'll just go kicking and screaming, ready to fight this man. I don't care that he's like 8 feet tall and twice as wide as me. I will fucking kill him. I'll try.
Yeah.
He did not treat her well. Rude.
It's a noble endeavor.
Yes. So Celeste is like basically instantly doubled over, holding her crotch like she just got hoofed. Like she's so horny, she cannot take it. And she's begging for him to explain what is happening to her. And he is backing away from her and saying like, you need to run. I need to leave. This will work out better for everyone if we separate immediately. And he like leaves like his ass is on fire, which again, rude. Just left her there alone in the woods in a cave that she could not leave, by the way. Like the protective barrier that he put up meant she could not leave it again. He just left her in the woods. Fight me, ominous. Fight me. So she is like super fucking confused, thinking he like maybe he's some kind of incubus. Maybe that's why he has to wear the cloak, because he has this weird sex magic that happens when he takes the cloak off. Like I don't know what's going on, but either way, she is dying and he leaves. And the last thing he says is, "This won't be the last time we dance, baby girl." Fight me, ominous.
It's not even the first.
In a pit. Fight me in a pit. I can't take the way this man treats her.
If by dance you mean leaving you in a cave.
Yeah, right? Then I hope it is the last time it ever happens.
This won't be the last time we dance. Motherfucker, we're not dancing now.
Pretty sure right now you're just running like a coward.
Yeah. Oh, is that what your
yeah?
Is
your
that
people
what
call dancing?
Is that what your people call dancing? Uh-huh. Okay. Good. Noted.
So
Celeste will remember this.
So as he leaves, we start to get some indication of his motivations. So she is an assignment to him. She is part of a contract that he has with Governor Marcus involving 5 assignments to get his full power is not in him, right? He doesn't have access to his power or something. There's a lot of like political machinations and blah, 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 blah. However, he does acknowledge that she is his fated mate, which is something that he can't fix or change, but it is something that confuses the fuck out of him, because in this reality, fated mates can be any combination of people, LGBTQ plus, etc., but they never affect people outside of their own species.
Okay.
So the fact that he, a demon, is fated to a human confuses the hell out of him. He has no idea what's going on, but he also doesn't have any other like choice. It's not like he can stop it. So instead what he does is he decides to call his best friend and mine, my favorite character in this book, Max the Gargoyle. Max is the comedic relief character. Everybody hates him because he makes inappropriate jokes at inappropriate times, which means he is my best friend forever. I love him so much. I hope he gets his own book. And so he goes and he collects Celeste from the cave, and he takes her to a safe house that they keep outside of Ruby Hills. So all of this running that she did, a whole week of like potioned enhanced running, was undone like that because Max has teleportation magic. So he just grabbed her and took her right back to the place she ran away from. Like, goddamn freaking magic, people. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, magic is kind of bullshit that way.
Yeah.
But like, it can also work that way for you. So I guess it's sort of like a mutually assured destruction kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like it's just, honestly, all of my notes in the book are me just going, that's not fair to Celeste. I was so mad for Celeste the whole time because none of her wishes were ever even nobody wanted to know what she wanted. They just kept doing things to her, and I was just like, fight me in a fucking pit. Ominous first, then Max.
Will just one person be like, hey, Celeste, how are you?
Yeah. How are you feeling?
What can I do for you?
Yeah. Exactly. So Ominous goes back to his like lonely prince high rise that he has in the city. It's like the safe house that nobody knows about, but of course it's fucking really nice condo. And he basically like just jacks about it all night. The fact that he met this woman and he knows that he thinks that he can't have her, or he knows that he can't have her. And I wanted to pause because it's even highlighted in my notes. Praise for J.A. Keeton. Ominous's inner thoughts were so fucking funny to me because he is a dude. Like, not all inner monologues are as this masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a whole paragraph about how big his dick is. Like
in his own thoughts
about how the succubi that he usually beds are always really impressed by the size of it. Like, I was just like, yeah, buddy, sure. Yeah. You need a whole paragraph, And I'm pretty sure the end of the paragraph was like, I guess it's not that surprising considering the daemoniums just have to be bigger than better than everyone at everything. I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you say, buddy. I loved him. I loved his inner monologue because it was so real sounding to me.
My inner monologues start the exact same way, but then immediately spiral into self-doubt.
Yeah, that's the difference. Ominous's ego is like huge. I have never ever met it. He not once in this entire book does he doubt himself. I don't even think he feels bad about things. This guy is an egomaniac.
I doubt
all-powerful prince of the Daemonium Empire. You know, it comes with the territory, I guess.
I was gonna say, I doubt literally everything. Everything. Except one. The only thing I have never doubted was marrying you. Everything else, up for grabs.
Aw, thanks.
I got one thing right. It was this. Everything else, couldn't say.
Yeah. No idea. We'll find out.
Yep.
We'll find out later. So let's see, we get some inner spank thoughts from Ominous during this sequence. So he has a bit of a sadist streak, like he really wants to make her cry a little bit. Okay, cool. At one point he thinks her body was a garden of fertility and I was ready to sow my seed deep in her soil. Ominous, no. Don't do that. No, don't say that. I don't like it when you compare semen to like gardening. I just
semen to seed and her vagina is dirt.
If I am ever compared to soil fucking again in my life, like I think it's happened to me like once, and it was in like some random context when we were in like high school. We were just making jokes, and even then I was like, don't do that. I don't like that. My uterus is not a bowl of dirt for you to plant a petunia in. I don't like that.
That's a backstory. That
Oh yeah, that was like a lore drop, I think.
Yeah, that was a lore drop.
That was weird.
What is the context of it?
We were just like,
who's we?
So in high school, my friends were sitting around reading out of an erotica book that my friend Lindsay had brought to school.
Okay.
And it was lesbian erotica. Not that it matters, but I remember that. And we started talking about like the flowery language that was in one of the stories, and like somebody said like, oh, let me plant my seed in your fertile soil, but they were looking at me specifically like they were trying to like say a thing that would get a rise out of me, and it worked. That's all it was. But it was just like gross. I don't like it. I don't.
Thank you for that backstory.
You're so welcome. Enjoy. At the safe house, Max and Celeste. So Celeste, after being teleported to this safe house, basically has a total meltdown. Fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
She starts freaking out, screaming at him about her entire life, and he manages to calm the crazy enough to get her to at least go to bed because she is exhausted. She needs to rest. He puts her in bed and calls Ominous to basically be like, man, what the fuck are you making me do? This girl is not okay. What are you asking of me right now? Like, I don't know if I'm okay with this. And Ominous basically tells him to shut up and follow the plan, which he does because he's very loyal. Max is an incredibly loyal member of the royal court. He's the only other surviving member of the royal court. So he does what Ominous wants.
All right.
Ominous then goes to have a visit with Governor Marcus, who, again, is the creepiest creep who ever did creep. Like, his whole house is filled with statues and paintings of Celeste that he has commissioned.
Ugh.
people to make for him.
Hanging over his samurai sword collection.
Right? Next to his pet iguana. The start of this chapter, Ominous is looking at a full-sized ethereal statue of Celeste as an angel.
Well.
With big fucking wings that Marcus has had commissioned. Like, this man is not well. He calls her his little fox. He's never met her.
No, thank you.
I don't think he's ever met her in person, even. It's just creepy. So here is where we get an explanation for Ominous's sort of current situation. He took this position 2 years ago after the royal family was killed in the coup because Marcus could offer him safety from basically everything. He thought nobody knows where he is right now. Every time he's in public, his identity is hidden. But in exchange for that, he did sign a contract with Marcus, which forfeited like 85% of his total power. It's now locked away in a scroll. And returning Celeste to Marcus is the thing that unlocks the scroll. So he, at this point in his journey, is far more focused on getting his power back and reclaiming his throne than he is on his fated mate. Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to deliver Celeste to you as requested. And he will, even though it's going to kill him to do it. Okay. So once he gets to the safe house to collect Celeste, she has been bound at the feet and the wrists again for transport by Max, who once Ominous arrives, he's like, I'm leaving. You can handle. I don't want anything else to do with this. Goodbye. As soon as Ominous is in like a 100-foot radius of the safe house, she starts to feel the horny again.
Oh no.
Like immediately. And she starts shaking. And Max is like, what's wrong? What's going on? And she's like, it's the curse. It's Ominous's curse. She thinks that he has cursed her to feel like this.
To just
Why?
Be horny.
Why? Because he's cruel, I guess. She just thinks he's a mean person. She, up to this point, does consider him to be her enemy. He's trying to take her back to Marcus, so she thinks he's cursed her. And while Max knows better, he doesn't get an opportunity to tell her any of that before Ominous is crashing through the door and telling him to leave and blah, 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 blah. She, at this point, has to be delivered to Marcus in like 10 minutes. But he can't just leave her on the ground in agony. And now can he? Like, she's just suffering so much right now, and she's begging for help. So they only have a few minutes, but he tells her he will never be able to actually have sex with her. But that doesn't mean we can't do other stuff together that could be lots of fun, right? So she's like, yes, Les, anything at all, anything that we can do. So we talked about Ominous's dick earlier, just a little bit from his own perspective,
yeah.
But I do need to give you a clarification of what exactly it is that we are working with here. So welcome to the Weird Dick Club. Ominous Daemonium. From Celeste's perspective, it is the size of her forearm.
Okay.
She calls it a weapon, and I agree. She's like, I don't think that you should be legally allowed to walk around with that between your legs. Honestly, the size of your forearm, I agree.
Yeah.
He also has like 3 large nodes on the bottom of it, which in his inner monologue is like, it's very impressive. Not many guys have 3. Most guys just have 1, maybe 2.
I'm upset. Again, last week, there are words that you could say in front of or like near like dick. Like last week it was barbs.
Mm-hmm.
This week it's nodes.
Nodes? Okay.
No.
They were also called lumps?
Same.
Okay.
No. I don't want lumps.
Oh, okay.
Near or on my dick.
He also has a knot.
Huff. Fucking of course. Of course.
Oh, Carl. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so she drops down to start sucking this dick.
Yes, because that will help her.
Oh, no. So she actually loves it. She's like,
okay.
Thank God. Just getting it near her is it's coated in oxytocin and dopamine. I love everything about this. I'm having a fantastic time. She starts playing with herself while she's doing this. This was an excellent sequence. When she finally does finish, she's like begging him to make eye contact with her so that she can be seen by him. And that, awesome. Fantastic. Love it. So she finishes and he says the wrong fucking thing. Like, he just says the wrong thing. I understand what he meant, but from her perspective, she thought she was being rejected. So she starts, like, the mood just plummets. She gets mad. She gets sad. She is half naked on the ground, and he's like kind of sadistic. So he's a little more turned on by the fact that she's crying now. The whole situation is just too fucking much. He starts telling her that she needs to leave, that he needs to go, that he can't control himself. Whatever's going to happen next is going to be a problem. And she starts screaming at him, no, fuck you. Stop running away. Tell me what the hell is going on. I can't handle this anymore. And he, again, does not answer her question, but he just says, like, fuck this. And then he kisses her. Fantastic kiss. Wonderful. He picks her up off of the ground. At this point, I think her legs are free, or her arms are free. One of them is free already. But he picks her up off of the ground. They're having this incredible kiss. He's got like a forked tongue and shit. Like, it's wild. He lifts her up and starts lowering her onto his dick. He's like, okay, fate's winning this time. I have to have sex with this woman. And she starts saying, wait, stop. Wait. Not because she doesn't want to have sex, but because she just wants to make him aware of the fact that she is technically a virgin.
Oh, here we got, okay.
Yeah. So I didn't put virgin FMC in my notes because she is not, or in the triple T's, because she's not a virgin. She's had plenty of sexual encounters, but she never manages to get to the penetration part. Something always happens. She thinks it's a curse. She thinks she's been cursed. She just happens to have never in her 27 years gotten to this point.
Okay.
And so she tells him that just as he is like, he thinks she's telling him to stop because it's too big and she's scared. And he's like, don't worry, I can't stop, but it'll be okay. She's like, I'm a virgin. He feels that like pop, the pressure sometimes changes. And then he sort of freezes. And she's like, what's going on? He's like this far into her because of course he's gigantic, and he's totally frozen. And then he sort of just picks her up and sets her down. And she's freaking out, like, what is happening? What is going on? The magic in the room starts to swell and change. She starts to feel like that she might actually be in danger. He gets even bigger. He grows even larger by like 33%. He gets like a third bigger. The wings, which he had previously not have, suddenly return by ripping out of his back. And he manifests his full power. She's like, holy shit, I am a human and I can tell how powerful this guy is just by the magic rolling off of him. And she again is like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? And he finally, once everything calms down, explains to her, you have Spellbreaker blood. You have an ancient magic in your blood called Spellbreaker blood. It is so rare that we thought that it didn't exist anymore because almost all of the Spellbreakers were killed. So that your magic could never be used because it is the only magic in the world that can literally break all other magic. So the fact that they had sex, he broke her hymen and got her blood on him, broke the contract that he had with Governor Marcus and restored him to his full power.
I was waiting for an explanation because
the look on your face was like, oh, what the fuck is happening? What are you talking about right now? You're not making any sense to me.
None of it.
Yes, that is what happened. Her hymen blood broke his curse. That's what happened. Welcome to dark romantasy world. Shit gets weirder and weirder every week here, Carl.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I love you so much for staying here.
Where am I gonna go?
No, for like not just turning this off. Like, you're just like, I'm done, and that's it. And we're done.
No,
I'm done.
I just needed an explanation.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. There's the explanation. So the next thing he does, actually, no, wait, he doesn't explain that. First, he eats her out. for all that he is worth, because you can't go wasting that precious spellbreaker blood. Blood consumption is a thing that happens in this book as like a way of obtaining her magic. So this was twofold. He wanted to eat her out a bunch, and two, you can't go wasting that blood. So after she comes down off of that, then he explains the spellbreaker thing to her.
Better late than never.
So she also has no idea about fated mates. She has been sort of pushing the subject with him every time they have talked this entire time. Like, why do I feel like this? Why is this happening to me? Why do I feel connected to you? Why do I feel drawn to you? And he won't answer. In fact, in this scene, he's like, do some research. Again, fight me in a fucking pit. Because what do you mean do some research? From where? Starting how? Dear Google, when I'm around one guy, I get so horny, I lose consciousness. What does that mean?
I wouldn't even know where to fucking start.
Right? I just wanted to murder this man. I was so mad at him. Anyway.
Oh, hold on. Let me go to Daemonium Google.
So then Marcus calls.
Fucking Marcus.
And he is so pissed because they are not at the drop-off. And Ominous is a fucking douche who really just needs his ass kicked. Turns the video on his phone and turns it to face Celeste, who's like covering herself with a blanket. And he's bragging about how he had sex with her, basically. What? Why?
Gross.
Dark romance. What the fuck are you doing, my guy? That's so rude. She is so unhappy about that. Go figure. And Marcus is obviously even more pissed, but he hasn't yet realized that his contract is broken, so he has no recourse. We actually don't hear from Marcus again.
Oh no.
He just never comes back.
Darn.
So a couple minutes later, he's telling her that she needs to come home with him to a new safe house. And as you can imagine, she is like, no, I don't want to do that. You're awful. But he says you basically don't have a choice, really. So this is true. Nobody else can protect her. If she goes out on her own again, another of Marcus's goons is going to get her. And now she may or may not have like some crazy magic she has no idea about. So she has to stick with the devil she knows at this point. So she goes with him. He takes her to a different safe house, drops her off with Max, and leaves. But Max has brought her dinner, and her first meal after going to prison and then spending weeks on the run is lo mein and crab rangoon, and that sounds so fucking good. I was like, I would have cried if you set crab rangoon in front of me after that ordeal. I would have cried.
Right?
I love them so much.
She's not lying.
I would commit crimes for a good crab rangoon.
I mean, I'm not as big a fan of crab rangoon as you are, but I still remember the crab rangoon I had 25 years ago in Marquette, Michigan, when I took my sister to university for her first time. We stopped. I couldn't even tell you the name of the restaurant, but I just remember that the crab rangoon that I ate there was the best crab rangoon I ever ate. So maybe that's why I don't like crab rangoon that much anymore. It's like I've had the best.
Oh, I had the best one
in Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah,
what?
Of all places.
I still think about those crab rangoon at least once a week. They're that good. I'm sure my sister would remember the name of the restaurant because she was up there for 4 years.
I feel that way about a lot of foods. I think about them regularly. Okay, so back to the story. So from Ominous's perspective, he is planning to overthrow the people in charge and reclaim his throne and kingdom. But in that process, he is also determined that because they did not finish having sex, they didn't complete the process, the fated mate bond is not actually sealed yet. And so what he is going to do is keep her, because he likes her, and because the spellbreaker blood is very powerful. But he's not going to complete the fated mate bond because he is powerful enough to simply ignore it now. But she's not. And she is like suffering, fully confused. She does not understand. Once Ominous leaves, Max explains the rest to her that she needs to know about fated mates and everything.
Well, thank fucking God somebody
Seriously,
did.
Again, Max, my favorite character in the book for many reasons. So he explains to her that Ominous has his full powers back now. They are fated mates, which means that this feeling that she has is like this old, unbreakable kind of magic. She is left sort of feeling even worse because she now realizes Ominous is fully aware of what is happening and how she is feeling, and simply choosing to ignore that in favor of his own goals. Is he willing to just let her suffer forever, knowing she'll never leave because whatever he's willing to give her will sustain her enough? She can't stand the idea that in the end what she is going to end up being is just a different kind of prisoner. Mm-hmm. So she tells Max that Ominous never explained any of this to her. The fated mates thing is all completely new. She feels trapped here. She can't make her own decisions. She begs him to take her back to where he picked her up outside of Sapphire Falls so that she can run and get away. And he agrees to do that. But in exchange, he wants some of her blood. And she says, okay, but take me to the border first before you do that, just in case, you know. Mm-hmm. So they get to right to the border. He bites her neck to drink her blood. And then Ominous arrives on the scene. Like, as soon as they left the safe house, he knew that because there are cameras everywhere. He's been watching the entire time. He and Max have a fight, a huge knockdown drag out between an incredibly powerful demon and a guy who's literally made of rocks. And Max's entire argument is, you can't take away all of this woman's choices. She doesn't want to be with you. You have to let her go. And Ominous's argument is, fuck you, I'm in charge. I get to make the choices. But all of that is just enough of a distraction for Celeste to run over the border and into Sapphire Falls proper. The border of Sapphire Falls is protected by some kind of magical barrier. So any magical creature who attempts to enter will be pushed back. And because Ominous is so powerful, when he hits the barrier, he gets thrown back like he was hit by a nuke. So he cannot access her. He has to just watch as she slowly, sort of drunkenly stumbles her way into town because she's not sure what's happening. She thinks maybe Max took too much blood. She's not feeling good. He takes Max back to his house, beats the shit out of him, tortures him until he's nearly dead, gives him just enough healing magic so that he doesn't die, and then sends him off to his mother. That was his best friend. And that's what he did to the guy because he took his girlfriend away. Ugh. His kidnapped girlfriend, by the way, because he freed his kidnapped girlfriend. He beat the guy to death. Dark romance.
Jesus
I
Christ.
Swear to Christ. I can't. So that scene was fucking crazy. Oh my God. It was wild. Okay, so in Sapphire Falls, Celeste settles in. She makes some friends. There is a woman in town who is approximately her age, but she has been there for 20 years. So she keeps asking questions about shit that was relevant 20 years ago in the modern world. And Celeste has to be like, none of that's in fashion. I don't even know who that singer is. I don't know what you're talking about. It's very, very cute. Her name is Arya. They develop a really adorable friendship. So the town is really cool. I enjoyed the time that I got to spend there in this world. There's a sequence in the middle of about 15% that she spends in Sapphire Falls, and it is this even more anachronistic town because it is magic free, and so they barely even have electricity there. When she gets a house there, she is one of the only houses in town that has power.
I'm also adding this weird extra layer of like, they know about things, but they know about like the Mr. Pibb version.
Oh,
like they had a boy band phase in the late 90s, but like they only remember O-Town.
96 degrees.
96 degree. Exactly. That's the other one I was thinking of. Like they only remember like the Mr. Pibb version of every single thing.
It's actually worse. They specifically choose to continue to dress and decorate their homes as if they still lived 150 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Because they choose to live a life without access to magic.
All right.
And so they're just like, they're full the village.
I was just gonna say they're kind of like the village. Yeah.
So she gets a job working as a barmaid at the only bar in town, which happens to be owned by Arya's mom. So she works with Arya every day.
I thought you were going to say the soda fountain.
Oh, I know, right? The saloon, basically. She wears I think she wears a corset and frilly skirt when she works there even. So she settles in this place. But first thing that happens is she wakes up. So Celeste wakes up in a hospital room and she is told that she has been asleep for weeks.
Whoa.
5 weeks, because she was infected by gargoyle venom when she was bitten by Max, and because they don't have any magic, they had to trust something she's never heard of before called antibiotics. I don't know. I never heard of it, but they needed to use those instead. You could have put 2 potions in her and healed her in 2 minutes, but amoxicillin. They did what they had to do with a Z-Pack,
Are you allergic to Keflex?
So she wakes up, and there is this really lovely old man there named Albert who is there to greet her. He's the mayor. Everyone's really excited to see her. He takes her to get cleaned up and to see her new house and to get dressed for this big party they have. The whole town comes out to have this big feast. And it's just so sweet. She meets this one kind of a weirdo dude in town named Gavin who seems to be kind of interested in dating her. But Arya keeps saying Gavin's the town creep. Don't talk to him. He's just this really wealthy kind of upper crusty guy with no chin. And she has...
Oh, yeah. God, I love that single panel in Preacher when he asks...
Oh, yeah.
Why is it the people who think they're the best representation of their race are always the worst representation? Where the fuck is your chin?
Yep, exactly.
Anyway, I never miss an opportunity to talk about it or use it on the internet.
So she spends a month in this place and she's settling in well. She's happy. I mean, she misses her old life. She obviously misses Ominous, even though she doesn't want to, because she has this deep, fated connection with him. But she also recognizes that it's not going to get any better than this. Where she is now, she's comfortable, she's safe, she's happy, she has friends. Fantastic. On the outside, Ominous is putting all of the pieces of his plan together to take back his throne. The first step of his plan is to get Celeste back. Method: kidnapping.
Naturally.
You're just gonna do it again.
Play the hits.
So he has he has hired a fully human special operative to infiltrate Sapphire Falls and get her back out. This entire chapter was full of my notes that just said, Ominous, no, this is not okay. Ominous, no, this is not healthy. Ominous, no, go to therapy. Ominous, no, because this man is not well. This is what happens when an unchecked ego meets an incredible power.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this is not good. The night that the kidnapping is supposed to go down, Celeste leaves work. So she's still in her saloon girl uniform, and she is confronted by a very manic Gavin who tells her that she is in danger. But then Albert, the mayor, comes out to talk to her, and Gavin doesn't get a chance to finish what he was going to tell her, but he tells her to trust no one. And then Albert takes her to his house, even though it's 1 a.m, to have a cup of tea. And at his house, he drops the A-bomb of information that we need. This is her great-great-grandfather. Albert is her great-great-grandfather. And he and his family built Sapphire Falls as a way of hiding their spellbreaker blood someplace safe. His child and his child's child, so her grandfather and her father, chose to ignore his advice, and that's why they were killed.
He's her great-great?
Yes.
Grandfather?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is he alive?
He's a 90-something doddering-year-old, sweet old man, but they're magic.
Yeah.
They have magic blood.
That's fair.
So he tells her that it is now her choice to decide what to do next with this information. He gives her a book of spells that has been passed down through the family, and he tells her that everything that she needs is in the book. She goes back to her house, and she just passes out in bed, clothes still on, because holy shit, that was a lot of information to digest. And then someone starts pounding on her door, and it's Gavin. He's demanding to be let in, and he comes in panting and sweaty and says that he found an assassin in her backyard and knocked them unconscious, but he produces this paper that's looks like it's from Governor Marcus, and it's an order to kill her. So he says that more assassins are probably coming, and she needs to get ready to. They can go to his family's lake house, which is like 3 hours away or something, and he can keep her safe. And she's like, okay, I guess I don't have any other choices, so off we go. She goes to Gavin's family lake house, but the second that they leave Sapphire Falls, Ominous can tell.
Yeah, of course.
Because that magical force field isn't blocking their connection anymore. So as soon as he can feel it, even though he's pissed off because his special forces human assassin guy couldn't get her, he's like, okay, she's still out. You did your job. You'll get your payment in the morning. Goodbye. He goes to take her back. He gets to Gavin's palatial lake house. She's there, and he starts immediately making threats. And Gavin's father, who's never even named, emerges from another room with Celeste holding a gun to her head, telling him that he needs to back off because his worthless, useless son Gavin finally did something right and brought the Spellbreaker to the Hidden Order. So apparently Gavin's dad is part of the Hidden Order. The Hidden Order are the people that Ominous has been up against this whole time. So he's like, oh, good. I get to be violent now. He goes to start attacking this guy. Celeste is screaming, no, stop. Gavin's got the gun now, and he's like, Father, He starts shooting into Ominous's back. But here's the thing, kids. Bullets don't actually get stopped by flesh. They go through the body, and he shoots his own dad. Like a total idiot. And then after all of that is said and done, Gavin is like sobbing in the corner over his father's corpse, and Celeste and Ominous start making out, and I'm just like, what the fuck is happening right now? I can't.
I too am also like that.
Yeah. Things just went from like 0 to 8 million so fast.
Gavin's sobbing over his father's corpse.
Exactly.
And they're over there just getting it.
Yeah, exactly. So he rescues her from the situation. He takes her back to his penthouse apartment in Ruby Hills. And there was this really emotionally intense scene that happened here because the mating call is affecting her very deeply. And Ominous is pushing her for answers as to why she ran away. And she's just struggling to fucking breathe. And I was like, someone get this woman a padded cell and a mimosa. I cannot take what is happening to her anymore. Holy shit. But ultimately, they have been denying the magic for too long. It just crashes right into them like a fucking truck. And they fuck about it. Because of course they do. Yeah, so he eats her out, and then he fucks her. And do not ask me how he manages that, because the whole cock makes it in there. The whole thing, even though in the sequence right before this, she was describing how she was standing in front of the window and he came up behind her and his dick was between her shoulder blades. Like, he's that much taller than her, and it's huge.
Yeah.
Perforated organ. I don't know.
Yeah, never heard of it.
Never heard of it. So they have sex about it. The scene was fantastic. I'm not entirely sure how she survived. Oh no, he uses healing magic on her at least once. So probably that. They do it 2 more times before the night is done, and then the mating bond is sealed. That horny energy sort of settles. They take a shower and go to sleep. The next day, after all of their rest, they start gearing up to finish their like hidden war with the Hidden Order. She gets out the spell book that her grandfather gave her, and they go back to the forest safe house to be very far away because he's not entirely sure what's going to happen when she opens this clearly very powerful book that he can sense is like, again, like A-bomb powerful. She is incredibly powerful. She opens it. And then there's this really cool sequence of her experiencing terrible physical discomfort and pain as her body learns the magic. Like, she doesn't know what she's reading. The language doesn't even make sense. But when she needs to use a spell, she knows exactly how to do it, and she knows exactly what to say. So I thought that was super cool. I love it when in like magic world, like you just read the book and you know it all.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. After that, they do some practice. So she can do things like explode things and make weapons out of her own blood, build force fields, all kinds of stuff. It's really, really cool. So Ominous has done a shit ton of recon. He is very into planning and process. So he has been gathering all of this secret information while working for Marcus and the Order for 2 years. He is fully ready to go. They form a plan to infiltrate the Hidden Order's like secret compound or whatever and take out the leaders, and then just sort of let the rest of the organization die once the leaders are gone. But when that night comes, of course, there are always more complications than you thought. So they fly in. She takes out all of their like protective wards from the air, but they don't see any soldiers as backup, and they're like, this feels wrong. It feels like they should probably be protected, but they're not. They are all swarming right around the central compound. So he drops her like on top of the building and goes off to complete some other part of the process, and then she knows he will come back for her at the end. And then Max shows up. And he is like, you were never supposed to come back here. You were never supposed to be here. What are you doing? I can't help you anymore. He tries to pick her up and take her away. Like he tries to take Celeste out of the equation entirely. But for what reason, she doesn't know, because he's not explaining anything to her either. Until finally we reach the climax. So Celeste gets back to Ominous out on the main battlefield, and suddenly, once they are both together, Max is like, I told you, you needed to leave her alone. They needed you two to be together. That was the whole point. This entire thing, from the murder of the royal family to Marcus and the contract on Celeste, to making sure that Ominous survived, this has all been an incredibly like long form Machiavellian something or other by the Hidden Order in order to get Ominous and Celeste together so that they could complete a cultish ritual to raise their old gods. Came out of fucking left field. I had no idea where this was going. I was like, what the hell, Keeton?
An order so hidden.
So hidden.
We didn't know about it.
So hidden.
Until nearly the end of the book.
They've named the Hidden Order several times throughout the book, but just as a sort of like, they made it sound more like the Freemasons.
Oh.
But
a bunch
they're
of kooks
not.
that are, may or may not be into
it was
some
more
weird
like
shit.
It was more like rich old white guys
Yeah.
doing their best to maintain power. But it turns out that they're actually in a cult that worships an incredibly old god.
Yeah, like the Freemasons.
So shit goes south and sideways real quick. A lot of death, destruction, mayhem, sadness. And then ultimately what ends up happening is Celeste chooses to perform a spell which she knows will kill her, but will save Ominous and will ensure that he can get his throne back. So she does exactly that. It's an incredibly cool sounding spell where she slices her hands open, the blood starts coming out of her hands, it raises up in these teeny tiny little pin drops, and then they just all start shooting at all the bad guys. Sounded awesome.
It does sound awesome.
But anyway, after all that is finished, huge emotional moment. She's dying. She tells him that she loves him. He's crying, telling her that she can't leave him because somewhere along the way they fell in love. I'm not sure when, because they were treating each other like shit this entire time. But either way, dark romance. So he pours all of his healing magic into her until he taps into the well of his own life force, knowing that he will forever be giving up a certain amount of his power just to try and save her life. And he manages to get a single heartbeat. She stabilizes. She wakes up. Everything is fine. She convinces him to take Max with him because she didn't kill him. She convinces him to take Max with him back to the safe house, and he's like, fine, I guess. He is my best friend. I did only murder him the once. So
I can't stay mad at you.
She's like, well, he was loyal to you. He was always loyal to you. That's why he needed her blood. The Order had him under a spell too. He drank her blood to break that spell. He's always been loyal to Ominous. He just had to do what he had to do.
Right.
You know? So he takes Max back as well. A few days later, they have slept off this battle. There was a really cute scene of Max trying to steal pancakes from Celeste. Don't do that. You'll lose a finger. And they have one conversation with Max that doesn't really smooth anything out, but it just sort of ends, and he's like, goodbye. And then they fuck about it some more, because of course they did. They survived. They stopped an evil cult from raising an ancient god, which from description was Cthulhu, I think. And they have sex about it on the kitchen floor. They do some really cool stuff with sex magic, restraint magic. There is a lot of there's reference to how great the sex can be when you incorporate magic, but they don't do that in this book, which makes me think that Keaton's just gearing up for more books with more sex magic. Yes, love it. Love to hear it. You love to see it. So they have this fantastic sex scene. At the end of it, he fucks her with his knot. Like, remember here that Celeste likes, I guess, no, don't remember, because I don't know that I've told you this. Celeste likes pain. She finds some amount of pleasure in pain. So he fucks her with his knot, which is not a thing that in knotting books we would usually expect, because that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But she's just down for it, fully down for it. So, okay, whatever. That is how they ended that sequence. Good for you. I'm so glad you found someone to make you happy, Celeste. The end of the book, but there is an epilogue.
Of course.
Several months later, Celeste is now pregnant with the heir to the throne. It's coronation day, and she and Ominous get all snazzy and walk before the court and are presented as king and queen. She surveys the crowd. She thinks about Greta, her friend who helped her escape and who has seemingly sort of been helping her all along, but hasn't been available to actually be her friend. She thinks she sees Greta in the audience for one moment, but then she is gone in a blink of an eye, which just means that we've got an all-powerful witch machinizing through love through these books, I am sure, and I love that trope. I love it. So Greta will, I'm sure, see her again. That is the end of the book. The end. And that was The Spellbroken King by J.A. Keeton. Thank you so much for going on that ride. How are you? How are you holding up?
It's a lot, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make it. I never know what to expect with the dark fantasy or the dark romance. I mean, because it is decidedly not my vibe, but like we always say, we make clear time and time again, just because it's not our vibe doesn't mean, or my vibe in particular, but it doesn't mean that it's not somebody's vibe.
Yeah.
So I honor that and I respect that, but holy cow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was good though. I love this book. This was great. I enjoyed it very much. The next book that's coming out is a menage, FFM, I think, and I think it comes out in like December. I'm really looking forward to reading that one too. It's going to be great.
No, when it comes out, you can tuck into it.
Yeah.
But until then, what are you into?
Oh, what am I into? I think this week I'm going to go with, I am into the song Otaku Hot Girl by Megan Thee Stallion. I love the song. It's really great. And it's a song about being hot and liking anime. Like, it's the whole song is just like, I'm super hot and here are a bunch of references to anime. Fuck you. I'm Megan Thee Stallion. Love it.
Good enough.
Love it every day. What about you, baby? What are you into?
I've been sitting over here thinking, I've been thinking about what to say here at this part of the show. And at one point I had a thought. I was like, oh, let's go with that. And then I forgot it. So I'm just going to keep it simple. And I'm going to go with a song as well. And I literally, just as I was saying it, I decided to go with a different song. Because I was fascinated. I was absolutely fascinated when I recently played an 18-year-old song for you that I'd somehow never played for you before. And it was like, it like resonated like through time.
Yes.
With 18-year-old Katie. There used to be a band called Dropping Daylight, and they had a song that was called Lucy. And it was a really good song. It was bad. It came out in 2006. I don't think they did anything beyond that. I think I saw them open for somebody at some point back when I was still going to a bunch of shows all the time. And then a couple years later, I met you, and I made a bunch of CDs for you because that's what you did back then. But somehow, I never put that song on there, and it is extremely 18-year-old Katie's vibe.
Oh, God, yes.
It's, it starts with piano, and then it gets kind of heavy, and it's poppy, and he's got that very sort of plaintive, yowling tenor of the emo.
Yeah, he's got that perfect mid-2000s emo voice to
Yep.
go with it all. And it's got a sort of storytelling style, like a musical theater number.
It's basically if like the guys in Fall Out Boy were theater kids.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, is basically what it is. Like, it has that energy, and it was just so nice to watch you discover that. And that's what I love about music is it's it's weird. It's like it's that thing that I was bitching about Reddit the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing pisses me off more than people on Reddit going, "Oh, I already saw this on Reddit." Yeah. Okay, great. Maybe somebody else didn't.
Yeah.
A song, no matter how old a song is, it's new to somebody. It can always be new to someone. And that I got to watch you experience that. It was so great. So I'm going to go with that song as the thing that I am into this week. And normally this is where I would ask you, what are you reading next week?
Yep.
But you're not.
I'm not.
You're not reading anything because we have our fourth and final guest co-host coming up for the Summer of Friendship. We have one more guest co-host and one more book from a friend before we wrap up the Summer of Friendship. And next week, we have Cassie, a.k.a. Unfortunate Reads, on TikTok. She recently announced that she is holding her very first convention next year, Monster Eroticon.
Yep.
In Baltimore in May of 2025. And she is going to join us as a guest co-host and present to us a book that we are completely unaware of as of right now.
Oh, yeah. No, I gave her the guidelines and she was like, I got it. So I have no idea, but I hope it's unfortunate because I love the books that she presents. They're always fantastic.
I'm very excited to hear that. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, go right ahead, cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Check out the show notes. There's a link to our link tree. Click on it. That top link is a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. Oh, by the way, that is once this show hits the main feed. I got to start telling people that. Once this hits the main feed, it will be the top link. It's not an affiliate link. We don't get any money for that. What we do get money for is from our Patreon. And if you think that you would like to support us financially, if you are able to do so, you can do so for just $1, like these fine folks have. Vincent Sultanfus, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear on this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use, but not you, at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Never you. Always remember that.
You know who you are.
Listener, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
Good night and good luck.